Okay. So basically, initially what I wanted to do was paint something similar to what I just showed you in the corner of each side of this room, of this master bedroom, which is totally doable. It was going to require me to get 3 different colors, most likely a paint made, but something, I don't know, I can't remember what made me change my mind, but I wound up just on a whim going to Hobby Lobby and walking through all of the aisles before I found this flat styrofoam. There were the 2-pack. The 2-pack for $5.99. And what's cool about it, I mean, on the cover, I've never used this stuff before. It's called Smooth Foam. I'll put the information in there. But on the cover, it shows really clean cut little pieces that appear to be painted, giving the impression that it's easy to cut and design however you like. So once I found that, the plan was then to cut the shapes that I wanted and just cover them in fabric with the colors that I was gonna actually paint. So that's what I'm gonna do. This is stuff right here. I have curtains that I bought years ago, and the curtains that I bought for this room that I didn't put up because I like this cream, lets more light in. But this dark color is the exact color of the furniture. It's 2-tone, so it's like the dark color. I need to look that color up to see what it's called. We've got this gold curtain and this kind of lavender color for the lighter purple on the furniture, but I've already used it to make the one that I showed you. So right now we're gonna make one for the other side of the room. Let's get started on that. First thing I need to do is plug in this hot glue gun. I use hot glue for everything. Not everything, but almost everything. And I tell you what, it holds up. So don't hate on the hot glue. Mess this up. So I got the babes in here. You may see 2 little fur babies running around on the floor. The black one is Rocky, and then the blonde one is Winnie, and they are the best of friends. I hope they don't trip over this hot glue. I'm gonna sit this over there, get it out of the way. But that hot glue takes, the hot glue gun, for those of you who don't know, it takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I'd say more than 5 minutes. Let's say 7 to 10 minutes to get hot enough for the glue to start coming out freely. So we'll plug that in now just to get it ready. Sit it on this dresser top. It has a glass top, so I'm not concerned about any hot glue falling in the glass, because once it dries, it just peels right off unless it's fabric. So just this plain strip of styrofoam. The only thing I don't like, I cannot stand this about styrofoam, are the little bitty bits that get all over the place. And you have to vacuum afterwards. It's a 1/2 inch thick. That's what I was looking for. This is a 1/2 inch thick for the job we're doing. We're not painting it, but it's supposed to be easy to paint. That's what the package says. So let's get started. So what I'm gonna do, initially how I came up with the design for what I initially showed you, I'm not moving the camera because it's attached to something. This is my first time using this thing, and it's a pain to get it in there, so we'll just leave where it is. But there's 2 pieces in the middle that are like a dark purple, and 2 pieces on the outside that are gold, and then a little small kind of lavender piece at the bottom. Initially, I knew I needed to make 4 pieces basically out of of this strip that we have. This is the remnants of the first one, but it's evenly cut. Everything that I used for the first one. This is it. I'm kind of using this as a marker to make sure I'm measuring everything correctly, but I do remember, pretty sure the ends on the outside were 2.5 inches. I have my ruler, so let's start there. What I'm going to do is measure this one first, just to go off, just make sure it's right. Yep, 2 inches. So it's 2 inches for the first one on the outside. 1, 2. So those are going to be 2 inches wide. And what I did initially was, because I do have a long, like a yardstick, I guess, but I didn't want to use that, or I don't know, I guess I just didn't feel like pulling it out. One ruler was enough for me. So we'll start measuring 2 inches, and we'll make our marks in dots on the styrofoam, and then we'll connect the dots all the way down. Sounds like a bird or something out there. What is that? I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb just to make sure nobody interrupts me while I'm taking care of business, right? So as I'm doing this, I'll explain that as you'll see in the previous videos that I've shown, this room, the wall color is antique white, I believe is what the can says. It's plain white. I like it. It's simple, it's flat. It's not a gloss, it's a flat color. It's just a flat paint, but it's neutral. And the reason why I think it works is because the furniture color is so bold, that dark purple, along with that lavender, and you have the gold in there. You need something to tone it down, in my opinion, for my room. You may want it a little brighter all over, a little much all over. To me, it'd be a little bit much. So I have to tone it down. So that's why I chose the cream color for the walls and the chair and the curtains and the sheer curtains in between to balance out the bold purple and lavender and gold. But we also don't want it to be drab and boring, just these plain white walls. So that's why I came up with this, which initially was going to be a paint job. A paint job for this room. Thank goodness I don't have to do that. Painting is a whole nother thing. To me, this is a little bit easier. Jeez, are we still just, yes folks, we're still just tracing along. That's enough, because it's actually not that long. We don't have to keep going down. It's not going to be that long. We can actually, let's connect the dots now. Let's start on one, just so we can show. I can show. I keep saying we. Who's we? Who's we? And it's pretty resilient. This is a fine point Sharpie. And I am heavy-handed, but I'm not puncturing the styrofoam to the point where it's cutting through it. It's a 1/2 inch thick, so it can handle it. Just connecting the dots, and that's how I got the straight line for the first set that I did in the right corner of the room. Just make sure all the lines, the dots line up on the ruler. It really doesn't matter if you have to trace again because you're not going to see this. This is all going to be covered with fabric, so you have to trace it again, just to make sure you know which line is the right line. But I will say this, my first time using this styrofoam, I'm very impressed with what I was able to do with it. I will definitely be using it again in future projects. $5.99 for a tea bag. Watch, they're gonna bring up the price after this. No. That's too cheap. So I'm just checking to see how long we need to go. Just need to go to the next dot. Let's not waste unnecessary time. The shape, how I came up with the shape, I should explain that. Initially, I was gonna have it come from the ground up behind the chair, but luckily I changed my mind because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense because the chair would be covering up half of it. So I switched my thoughts and decided to have it coming from the top instead, which I think gives it a much better look. It looks like it's dropping down out of the ceiling out of nowhere. Once I figure out what I'm gonna do with the ceiling, it's just gonna be seamless and it'll just look like these bright, rich colors just dripping out of the ceiling. That's what I wanted. So that's how I kind of came up with the shape that I'm coming up with now. I'm just gonna have a circle at the end of it. I wasn't really sure how I was going to make the circle. Being the resourceful person that I am, I started looking around. What can I grab that will do it? And lo and behold, this little like a vase to something I bought years ago, but it's circular and it fits perfectly. Just keep pushing it until line. So basically I'm just lining that up right there. It's about halfway. The line, the bottom of the line that I just drew is about halfway on this. So what I'm gonna do now is take this, just go around it. And there it is, voila, there's the first one. So we're going to do the other side. There's the first one. Let's do the second one. Trying to find something that matches exactly. As far as wall art, you could just put anything on the wall, but if you want things to look good, or even just some wall decor, something to put on a plain white wall, you should definitely take your time, I would say, because it did take me some time. I had kind of an idea. I was thinking circles, like just put big purple, different color circles on the walls. Glad I didn't do that one. Because this one, to me, I took a little bit more time and thought about the design I was going for in this room, which is Art Deco. That's the theme, based on the furniture, which is the inspiration for the whole room. So once I know my theme, I started to just Google Art Deco design, Art Deco. I guess it's Art Deco in general, and certain things pop out. And this I guess was inspired in some way. I can't say exactly by what, just a bunch of different things that I saw. This is how I came to create this little bit of wall art, if you call it. You know, design, whatever. So you're like, what is that? That's not art. You just put some plain colors and shapes. I do think it gives it that 1940s, 50s classic Hollywood design look. And I think you'll agree when I finish the second one and put it up, and I'm able to show what they both look like on the wall. We're only doing two. Well, 2 corners of the room. I feel like it would be way too much to do it on all 4 corners. Like, yeah, it just would be too much, in my opinion. The first time I did this, being the procrastinator I am, I take breaks. I'm like, I need a break. Let me do one. I'm gonna take a break. Took me 2 days, I wanna say, to do it. I was doing it after work, I think, too. But the plan right now is to do all of them at the same time. I'm gonna have 2 down, 2 more to go. And then the 2 little ones. That little purple part, like lavender, I guess you want to call it. Okay. Let's start tracing. Connecting the dots. And I should also mention, depending on what kind of fabric you would like to use, or what you're planning on using as material to cover the styrofoam, for me it was way cheaper to do this project versus painting some type of graphic design on the wall that I wanted. Because I already had the fabric, and the styrofoam is $5.99 for a 2-pack. I already had a glue gun. Glue guns are super cheap if you don't have one. You can get one from, I feel like anywhere has, like Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Target. I'm sure I would imagine Target would have one. Target, maybe they don't, I don't know. I got mine from Walmart, but I know Hobby Lobby and a bunch of other stores have them. That's where we got the styrofoam from. It's Hobby Lobby, so you got cool stuff there. They always do. Been shopping at Hobby Lobby since I was in college. So we're using the same gold little piece. But of course, and I should mention, if you don't like shopping at certain stores, you are certainly likely to find these items at other establishments. So do it. Let's see. That's about, yeah, that's even. Just gonna trace around it. We did the first time. Okay. 2 down. This part's easy because, why is this easy again? I right now we're halfway. I guess I have to measure it. We'll see. I can't remember. Let's measure how wide this middle part is, because it's going to be thick. We're just going to basically do this in two. So there. So it's at 6.5 inches. So we got 3.25 basically. 3.25 inch. Just start making my mark there at 3.25 inch all the way down the middle. That's an even slice. And depending on how big you want, maybe one of these would be one whole little slab of decoration for you instead of 4, in my case. The room isn't that big. It's a nice size, but it's not huge, so these are big enough because the colors are bold. So we don't need them to be super huge for this room. These were longer, well, the middle. They're bigger, they're like an inch bigger, well, an inch wider than these outside ones, and they're also a little bit longer. So I'll have to use the leftovers from the first styrofoam cutting to see how long this one needs to be. Almost there. Oh. That's all that was left for after cutting everything. Just this little bitty bit. So I'll just use this. This is basically, so you can see, once you're done cutting everything out, this is what you'll have left of this whole thing. So I'm just using this as a guide for this one. Just to see how long it is. Just make sure it's the same length. So we'll just trace it. That'll just be easier. Just the outside lines, so I can get a good idea of how long it is. Let me see. That's about halfway. There we go. Let's get these out of here. So you can see what we did so far. These are the long lines. These are the dots we're about to connect. Let's put one more dot down here. 3.25 inch. There we go. Okay. Let's connect our dots. Okay. So because these are about an inch wider than the outside ones, I needed a bigger circle. So I started looking around the house again. What do I find? This glass fits perfectly. Let's see what we're doing. Put it right there. That's what we had to do. So basically, you want to position the glass to the point where the outer rim of the glass connects perfectly with the bottom two lines that you drew right there. It connects perfectly there. So you'll see what I mean. We're gonna set it right here. Right out there. Well, I'll move it so I'm able to see a little bit better than you are. But just sit right there, and then we'll just draw just like we did with the gold one around it. And it gets basically perfect. Well, it's perfect, I guess. Doesn't have to be perfect. But we have another one. Let's see. That's it. So we're gonna do this here. That one actually seems a little bit longer. So we're gonna bump this up. Because I can see it's visibly longer than this one. And that I don't want. Actually, what I need to do is take this and see. Right. That's what we'll do. There we go. And then let's see this one. We're just double checking, babe. I'm just double checking my work. Yep, that one was too short. So let me fill in. Basically, let me show you what I'm doing. This is the cutting from the first one. You see that small gap there? That means this is too short, so I'm just gonna fill that in. So it will match perfectly with the one that we have already up in the right corner of the room. Oh, look, we got a little small white styrofoam bits coming already. It's trying to get on my nerves. Can't stand that stuff. Ooh. It's the only downside of working with styrofoam. That stuff, I can't stand it. Can't stand you. Should have this perfect, but it's giving me a hard time. Well, look, I could just do it by hand, but I'm not a drawer. It will be a rough drawing. And that's the thing, if it isn't perfect, it's okay, as long as it's close enough. Because it's styrofoam, it's gonna be covered unless you're painting this. This video isn't about painting this styrofoam. It's about covering it with fabric, so maybe in the future I'll have a video about painting the styrofoam. I'll have to think of a project for it, but I don't have one right now. Oh, is that what? No, is that what that is? Let me double check my work. Okay, no, we're good. Okay. Now we can get to cutting. So the first time I started to cut, I was using these sewing scissors just because they're serious and they're super sharp, but a little bit messy on the styrofoam. So, the alternative, this little box cutter thingy, and basically I just puncture somewhere in the middle. Right here. Enough to go through the 1/2 inch thick styrofoam. And watch your fingers on the bottom. You can use gloves if you want. Probably should. And slowly, just go through. We're still going to get little bits of styrofoam, unfortunately, but it's a much cleaner cut than using the scissors. This is where it gets a little tricky around this, around the circle. So take your time. You are able to do turns and what else you need to do. This box cutter, you just need to take your time. Start to come up. For me, going down is a lot easier than going up, so I'm just going to keep going down. I'll start up here, make another hole all the way through the 1/2 inch. Watch your fingers. There we go. And we're through. I think maybe this is too much. Pull that back a little bit. And you have to, I guess, be gentle somewhat, because you don't want to break the styrofoam, because it is so easily broken. So take your time. Worst come worst, you have to buy some more styrofoam for $6, but this can be recycled as well. So if you don't recycle, sign up and start recycling immediately. This last little bit I'll go up just to break it free. Okay, one down. There it is. One down. Set this right there for now. Yeah, styrofoam bits. 3 more to go, and then we got 2 little ones, but that's not gonna take that long. So let's get cut and start on this middle one. This one, the left one, looks just a little bit bigger, but I don't think it's big enough for me to have to re-measure and trace. That's the thing, when you're, if I was painting it maybe, but I'm covering it with fabric, and where I'm putting it, nobody's gonna be able to tell. I won't even be able to tell eventually. So let's do that. Let's start cutting. I say it's not a big gap. Not enough for me to stop and retrace. Without noticing. This isn't woodwork. This is just styrofoam on the wall with some fabric on it. Looks a lot fancier than it is now that I'm showing you how to make it. Watch your fingers, of course. That will put a damper on the whole project. Just want to break it free from the top as early as possible. There we go. See where we left off? There we go. So there's two sides here. I'm gonna have to start cutting on this side. Go to the bottom. Oh, is that the too big side? No, it's even now. There's the big middle piece. Let's see, this is what we got left. Just two more. These are two pieces. Start in the middle. With this styrofoam, I find it easier to put one side of the styrofoam on a flat surface and then to lift the other side with your hand while you're cutting. Just to give you enough grip to put. Whoops. That's the other thing. If you accidentally start cutting the wrong way, just start cutting again. It's pretty easy to work with. This is a good angle for a little bit of grip. Go in this circle, the end. Time. Yeah. That one broke free a little bit, but I can cut that a little bit off. Not a big deal. How did that fall? I'm so hungry. Wish I could eat right now. But I have to wait until I finish this. My fault. Almost done. Yay. Okay. So there's one more piece. Pretty clean cut. It'll be even cleaner once you cover it with fabric. If I was painting this, it may look a little bit more jagged. I mean, for the most part, it's a pretty clean cut, I would say. You can get close up so you can see it. I think it's a pretty clean cut. I need to go get a phone charger. My phone's going dead. I was not prepared. Should go do that right now. It'll only take me a minute. Thinking, where's that cord at? Shame on me, I know. Let's get back to it. I think it's at 20%. I should be okay. To the bottom. Gotta be careful. You can also remove the styrofoam, I guess. That would make things a little bit easier. I never thought about that. There we go. What is making me itch? Maybe the styrofoam. That's what we're left with. That's it. That's it. That's it. We're gonna use that for the small little lavender pieces, and so I'm not done with that styrofoam, but I am done making a mess. So what I'm gonna do is just toss all this off. Ugh, can't stand this little styrofoam stuff. It's on my nerves. Vacuum you up. Get you out of here. Okay. So what we're gonna do next, let me check this hot glue, see if it's hot. Oh, yep, it's hot. Okay. So let me get some fabric. I'm gonna start with the dark purple. As I said, this was a curtain that I initially bought. Well, there's two for this room, but it matches the purple perfectly, but it is dark. I think it's a room darkening curtain, but it was hard to find a color that it matched exactly. I couldn't really be picky trying to match colors. So, but then I figured out it was just too dark, and I am one who likes light in their bedroom. So that's why we have what you see behind me, these cream curtains, and then these just off-white sheer curtains to let in the most amount of light as possible. Eventually I'll have some plants in here, but even if I didn't have plants in here, I love light. Who doesn't? Vampires. I'm not a vampire, so. gonna make, so you're gonna sit the styrofoam on top of the fabric, but you want to, I wonder if I should bring this up. Let me turn this down, actually, that would maybe help. See a little bit more, maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna cover this, basically, like that. You can kind of see. So now that I know how much fabric I need, I can start cutting some fabric with those sewing scissors. I'll start at the top. Just make sure you leave enough. If you cut, I mean, it's rather, you should probably leave more fabric than not enough, because you may need more, and you can cut off the excess fabric later on, so. But you definitely want to leave more and not less, because you need to cover the styrofoam. The sides completely need to be covered, and then it's just going to glue on the back. Nobody's going to see the back. You won't be able to see the back, so I'm just going to cut. Try not to pull the fabric. We're just going to do 2 of these. This is the first one. And the next one, those 2 will be gold in color. I really like the final product of this. It looks really, initially it looks a little rough around the edges, but once you glue that fabric on, you're not able to tell really or notice any of the imperfections as far as cutting with that box cutter. Now we can start gluing, but we have to use this glue sparingly. I only have 2 more sticks, and I'm not going to the store. Look, I just got some hot glue on my shirt. It happens that fast, I tell you. Luckily, I'm not in love with this shirt. It'll come off easily. So what I would do is put the glue on the fabric and then pull it towards the styrofoam. This styrofoam with this glue, as soon as the glue touches the styrofoam, it sticks. It starts to actually melt into the styrofoam, which isn't a bad thing, because I plan on it being that way forever. I don't plan on taking the fabric off and putting on a new color. Like, that's just too much. It's just, what, $3 per slice of styrofoam. Just buy some more, okay? So if you want to do that, I'm not planning on redesigning this. It's always going to be this color, always going to be in this fabric. And that's that. So let's just do some dots. I'm not using as much as I did on the first one, since I have to use this sparingly, let's say. But it sticks. It really does. It works. And it only takes that hot glue. I'd say a couple seconds to catch a hold. Even faster with this styrofoam, since it starts to melt into the styrofoam. And the good news, this whole time we haven't broken any of the styrofoam. It's tough, but it's also fragile, depending on how rough you are with it. Oh, I guess tough is the wrong word. Let me reposition this now. I'm getting messed up. It's easy to do with this fabric and the styrofoam, but no biggie. Like I said, this is a cheap project, so if you really mess up, start over. Really not a big deal. I'd say it's pretty simple. Just putting dots of glue on this fabric and then folding it towards the styrofoam. It'll be easier for you to see what I'm doing when I do this side, but I'm almost done with this side. Let me take it easy on this glue. You can use a lot, but as I said, I only have 2 more sticks left, and I am not going to the store to get more hot glue today. So let's stick with what I got. This is a mini hot glue gun, not a full-size one. The mini does exactly what I needed to do for my projects. It had to have been under $10. It wasn't a lot of money. So I'm not going to glue the top yet because that's how I attach it to the wall, is at the top. So once I won't flip it over because I'll have to reposition it. So I'll just start on this side. But basically I'm just gluing the fabric and flipping it over. I'll start at the bottom. I'll pull tight just to make sure there's no gaps or fabric that's gonna get bunched up, I guess. Couple dots. And it's a little stringy, which helps in this situation because I can use that little stringy glue also to attach the fabric. And there's some little dots. Fabric every now and then before you glue, just to make sure that you are catching any loose fabric that's at the bottom. Well, the face, I guess. I thought I felt some loose fabric. I was about to get mad. Okay. Just hold it there for a second, just to make sure that it sticks. But once it's stuck, it's stuck. You have to rip it off, so that's what we want. And this is the side that's going to be against the wall, so virtually it shouldn't be messed with, really. I don't know what you're doing in whatever room you'd be putting this in, but I can't imagine you'd be rubbing all on the walls. Or maybe you were, I don't know. Ooh, got some on my hand. That can happen. And it's hot for a second, but it comes right off. You'll live. You'll live. It's hotter than hot candle wax, I would say. Ooh, got some more. It's hot. Time for me to put in some more, not the glue stick, but I did pretty good about not using too much glue on this first one. And this is the larger piece, so it's only one more of these. Hold that for a second. Ow, 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 ow. Ouchie, it's hot. Okay. So we got all the sides. Let's do this bottom part. It doesn't have to be perfect. You see all this excess fabric. You may not perfectly glue the fabric onto the styrofoam. I mean, you may see some bunching at the bottom is what I mean, but it's not a huge deal. So let's get started. I'm gonna start on the outside. I should say this, I'm not a professional decorator. I am not. I have ideas in my head and I just start planning out how I'm gonna execute it basically. And spray paint, glue gun, I do what I gotta do to get the look that I'm going for. On a budget. Why waste money if you don't have to, right? So this time I'm putting a little glue on the styrofoam. It doesn't matter if you put it on the fabric or the styrofoam, it's not a big deal. Oh. The dog better stop barking. Not so bad. Oh, that works. Okay. And if you don't like how yours looks at the end after you glue it, I'm pretty sure, I haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure you could peel it right up. You may peel off some of the styrofoam, but like I said, this is the back, so nobody's really gonna see that. Let's do it right there. Okay. Hold that for a second. One more glue piece. Pull it tight. So you don't want any loose fabric at the bottom if we can avoid it. That's pretty much it. Just hold that for a second. And voila, there it is. I haven't glued this top part yet, but you can kind of see. Yeah, it's not fancy. It's not. That's going to be up against the wall, so I don't really care what that looks like. This is what I care about. And you see how smooth the lines look? That's what I mean. You're not able to really see any imperfections that you may have had when you were cutting. So that's one piece down. We're gonna do, what we need, 3, 4, 5 more. Just not all this size, of course. So we can put this right there, one down. Let's start with another purple. Let's get our fabric up first. Weird sounds going on up in here. Oh, let's get this glue gun out of the way. We're done gluing for now. I'm gonna cut some more fabric. Well, that's the other thing. I gotta make sure that I'm putting, like, this fabric's pretty much the same on both sides. Nope, I did it right on that side, okay. So this is the front, and this is the back, just making sure I'm doing it right. As I said, more fabric than less, just to make sure that you have enough to glue onto the styrofoam. You don't want to measure and then find out you don't have enough fabric. And then you wasted fabric. That would suck. Nobody wants to waste fabric. I paid, oh man, probably paid 30 bucks for these curtains from Wayfair. I had to have them shipped from Wayfair. I couldn't find anything this purple in stores. So I went to wayfair.com and ordered these. And here I am cutting them up. But that's okay because it's going to a good cause. And the curtains were intended for the room initially, and they are being used for the room, so I can't be mad about it. Just cut a hole right in that one. Cut this top off. There we go. I don't want too much. I know how much fabric I've used previously, so I'm definitely not going to use too much fabric if I don't need to. This is just one curtain that I've needed to use, one panel, I guess, for this project of this color. So I would say that's how much you would need for this project, is one panel, one curtain panel per color. So this is the dark purple. Let's scoop this over just a little bit. Without trying to pull it, because that throws you off a little bit. Straighten myself out. There we go. Yeah, it's okay. I'm pulling it. Okay, that's it. We're done with that purple. Let's get it out of here. I don't want to see it anymore. I'm done with that curtain. Okay, let's pick this up off the ground. How do these keep falling? There's no wind in here. These windows aren't open. I don't understand. Okay, we're ready to glue. And I will start at the bottom again. Well, not all the way at the bottom, but closer to the bottom than the top. It's just a safe area for me to start, I guess. Okay, let's start on this side. And I'm just gonna do a couple dots because I am trying to conserve glue sticks. I definitely use more fabric this time than before, I can tell already, but that's okay. That's okay. Oops. Bouncing around. There we go. That's too much fabric. Yeah, as I said, I'm just putting it on the fabric itself. Even this out, it's starting to get on my nerves. I don't know why it's starting to do that. Okay, I think that's good. Okay. I don't know if that went up too fast. Yeah, I thought this was a little time-consuming project. I'm looking at the clock. It's the first time I'm actually looking. It's not that time-consuming. Let me stop it. The end result is totally worth it. I mean, they don't sell it at the store, so you make it yourself, you know? That's what we're doing. It takes time. You, of course, can take breaks, which is what I would be doing right now. I love a good break. That's the procrastinator in me. Almost done with this first side. Okay, so that's done. Let's pull this to tighten it before we start to glue the other side to make sure there aren't any bunches in the fabric, little gaps. I feel them in there. That's what that sound is. Those are all bunches in my fabric. Make sure it's nice and snug before we start gluing on the other side. Okay, so I am gonna have to grab a phone charger really quickly. I'm gonna leave this going because I want to show that we did this from start to finish. Let me go grab a phone charger. Okay, with my phone charger, and I was a little bit parched. Let's get this charged. Okay, I think we're charging. Should be. Okay. Sorry about that. I should have been prepared. As far as that phone battery. starting at the top this time. A couple of dots. Hold it for a little bit. Don't need really too much glue for this. Just make sure you're pulling it tight to make to eliminate any bunching of the fabric on its face, on the face side of this. There we go. A couple of dots. Yeah, I put a little bit more fabric on this one than I did on the first one, but that's okay because as I said, this is on the back side, so nobody's gonna be able to see that. You're not gonna be able to see it, and you won't remember it after a while. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is gonna be on the wall, well, facing the wall, this back side. The front side does need to be close to perfect. Close, doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, we got some bunching. Take care of that. Almost done with this second purple piece. Please excuse the background noise. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I wish they would shut up. A little bit more, almost at the bottom. Let's get that up. And now we're going to start gluing the bottom. Let's start, yes, that's what we'll do. It's just trial and error as far as folding and gluing the fabric around corners or, you know, a circular kind of design, which is what we have here. So, but like I said, worst come worst, you don't like it, just redo it. No big deal. Not a big deal. Let's glue this shut. Almost done with this bottom part. I didn't leave myself a whole lot of fabric to work with, but I left myself enough. Make sure you leave yourself enough fabric, as I said, to cover the sides, because that is going to be exposed. You will be able to see that. You will be able to see that, and I'll show that with the camera when after I put these up. I think I can start to put up these first two. No, we'll put them all up at the same time. That's what I'll do. While I'm doing this, I'm going to mention a couple of other things I had planned for this room. Well, actually, wait on that. So this one's done. That's what it looks like. This is the side that's gonna be facing the wall. Yeah, it looks all raggedy, huh? I know. It's not supposed to be cute, okay? Because this is what needs to be nice. Saw a little something there. Some styrofoam. Good smooth. No bunches in the fabric. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna leave, I haven't glued this top part yet, but that's what we're going for. That's the final product. See the sides? We got fabric on the sides as well. That's why I said you need to have enough fabric so that you can cover the sides. And this side is gonna be on the wall, facing the wall, on the wall, so nobody's gonna see that. That's good, that's done. We got 2 down. There's 2 of them, 2 of the big ones, and then we got 2 small purple ones. So let's get this one. Actually, I got all this loose thread up here and that darker curtain, so I'm gonna wipe that. Get that off of here. I can't wait to bring that vacuum in here. Take care of this mess. Better do it now than have to do it off the little thing after you put the fabric on. So just getting it out of the way. Let's start. Let's start here. This is that lighter, I guess I would call it lavender color. This is the 2, it's 2 inches? Yeah, 2 inches wide. Right about there. More fabric than that on the sides. Just leaving myself enough fabric to work with. Okay. Cutting here at the top. Even though it's the bottom, it's the top. This is going to be at the top on the wall. That's why I say the top. And that actually is a good idea. Holding onto the styrofoam allows you to, well, prevents you from pulling the fabric underneath it and messing up the symmetry and your goal of having enough fabric to cover the sides. So I guess I should have said that before. I guess I didn't notice that before. So we found out together. I can get rid of this excess too. This is trash, I guess. My vacuum will pick that up. It's a Dyson. It can handle it. So, that. Let's start our gluing. These scissors out of the way. Thirsty. Got a little refreshment here. It's taking a swig. I did take an etiquette class, excuse me. Here we go. Let's start here. Just do a couple of dots on the fabric. On there, tight, hold it for a little bit. little bit. Let me pull this back. Oh, I don't want to. Let's do this. There. Well, that's interesting. This fabric actually starts to mess up if you pull it. This isn't a different curtain. I'm trying to think, where did I get this curtain from? Oh, this one I got from Walmart. It's not an exact match to the light kind of purple lavender on the furniture, but it's close enough when it's at a far distance for me to be like, okay, I'm good with that. So that's how we came up with this color. It's probably in some little girl's room. Oh no, I'm messing up. See? This is supposed to be gold. So, you know what? We didn't go too far. Oh, look at that. Comes right out. See? That's what I'm saying. I love this stuff. Love it. Didn't damage the styrofoam. I'm glad I stopped myself. Yeah, this is supposed to be gold, not that light lavender. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What is his problem? Look, I wasted maybe 2 minutes, okay? I apologize. I apologize. Where am I gonna cut this? I mean, it's the same process. It really is. It's the same process that I did 2 times before. This fabric's a little different. It's got this thin white layer with the gold, but I'll take it. I used this before, so I know when the hot glue touches the white layer, it goes through all the way to the gold and it sticks. So we'll leave it on there. But it's the same process as before. I can't believe I did that. I'm glad I caught myself before I went too far though, because I would have been mad about it. Wasting my time. You know, time is precious. I understand. Okay, that's good. I'll be fast about this, since we know now to hold on to the styrofoam and to start cutting away. Doesn't have to be a perfect cut. Just absolutely don't, because you're going to waste your time if you do. Please don't waste any more time. Okay. We got one down. We got one more of these of this gold. Okay. So hard glue. Again, in this situation, for this material, I want to say I'm going to do, yeah, I'll just put the glue on the fabric. We'll just stick with what we've been doing. Put the glue on the fabric and then pull it towards the styrofoam. Let's not try and reinvent the wheel. It's been working for us this whole time. I cut a little bit more fabric than I would have liked to, but no biggie, it's not a big deal. This gold is really nice. This is a excuse me. This is a gold curtain that I bought from, I want to say, an ARC thrift store. They have a bunch of fabric and other textile items there, and with the amazing invention of a Lysol laundry sanitizer, You can start buying things from the Goodwill or the Ark, vintage clothes, what have you, and wash them, and know that you're not going to be basking in someone else's germs. It's reassuring. I just can't do laundry without it now, so that's what I do. Depending on what I need the item for, I may go to the Ark Thrift or a Goodwill to try and get what I need to work with for my project, because it's cost efficient and it's also part of the 3 R's, which is reuse. So why go to a fabric store and buy fabric when you can just go to the thrift store and get it for $2, $4, and just wash it? That's what I'm talking about. Couple of dots. Fold it over, hold it down for a couple of seconds. Yep. Can't believe I was about to, that purple, that lavender, ooh, it's soft, but a lot of it goes a long way. So that's why we just use a little of it. We're not gonna do one of these whole things in a light purple. Absolutely not. You may, depending on your room. I'm not doing it, but okay, we got one side down. We just gotta do this other side. I'm happy we've got light, which is great. So let's pull this other side before we start gluing, so that we eliminate any excess fabric, any bunching. Okay, let's start gluing. I'm gonna start in the middle this time. I don't know why. Perfect. Oh, I love this gold. It's a shiny, sheer gold. Oh, what was I gonna mention? Yes, the ceilings. So this house has popcorn ceilings in virtually every room, and I can't stand popcorn ceilings. So I had planned on just what's the word? I don't know if it's stripping or whatever you want to call it, just taking that popcorn down. And I bought this little paint stripper thingy, whatever, I got from Lowe's. And I was all ready to start going at this ceiling in this room. Something told me to go online and to YouTube, a scraper, that's what it is, to YouTube how to get the popcorn off of the ceiling with the scraper. And I came across, as I was looking for a video about that, I came across an article that mentioned that asbestos was used in the past in building materials, including popcorn for the popcorn ceiling. And that per the Clean Air Act in 1978 is when it was against the law for builders to use asbestos in building material. This place was built in 1978. So that made me put a stop immediately to stripping the ceilings, because if you know anything about asbestos, you can research it. It's best to leave it alone, because once you disturb it, that's when it can be airborne. It's on the surface of everything. It's contaminating the space. It's just bad. So if it's asbestos, leave it. Just leave it alone. Unless you have the money to pay professionals to remove it, which I don't. And even if I had the money to do it, I'm not sure if I would want to in this situation. Because I like to do things myself, so. I decided, with the possibility of asbestos being in the ceiling, that I should go to a plan B. And plan B is to cover the popcorn instead of scraping it off the ceiling. Because if you wanted to remove the ceiling, but you had to find out, well, you weren't sure, basically. Let's say I wanted to take the popcorn down, but I wasn't sure if there was asbestos in the popcorn. That requires me taking a sample of the popcorn to some business or lab or whatever, where they test for asbestos, which I can do. The thing I don't like about that is, I don't want to say I'm not trustworthy, I'm untrusting of people, but I feel like if it's your job to remove asbestos, if I bring you a sample and I'm asking you, is there asbestos in it? I don't trust, if you tell me that there's asbestos in it, I'm not trusting that that's an unbiased analysis. I just can't. So rather than waste money because you told me there was asbestos in it because you want a job, I just will leave the asbestos here. I didn't find any tests online. I couldn't find anything online as far as an at-home test that you can use to see if you have asbestos. So I'm just gonna cover up the ceiling. I haven't decided how I'm gonna cover it yet. I'm thinking, I mean, they have like kits, you know, ceiling cover kits that you can buy. I think some of them are a little bit pricier than others. There's a bunch of other ideas as far as trying to cover up popcorn ceiling. So I haven't set my mind on one in particular yet, but when I do, you'll be the first to know. So I'm gluing the edges now. I left way more fabric at the bottom than I wanted to, but oh well. What can I do about it now? Nothing. It's close. As I said, it's trial and error with these edges. Oof. But again, it doesn't have to be pretty because this is going to be facing the wall. So don't freak out. I'm not freaking out. Use less glue that I'm using because I'm on my last stick of glue. Oh no! I told you I'm using this. I use hot glue. Not for everything, but I use it a lot as far as projects. If I can't use it, not with wood projects, I don't use hot glue, but I guess some wood projects you do use hot glue. Okay. This is almost done. It's basically done. This is done. As I said, remember, I'm not hot gluing the top just yet. I'll do that last. The reason, actually, I guess I could do it now. Yeah, I will. So the way that, well, let me show this first before I put the nail in. There we go. So that's what we did. We hot glued all that. This is the loose top that I didn't do yet. And this is the final product. Isn't that nice? See how smooth that is? That's the top. See, we got the sides covered. That's going against the wall. This is the nice side. Okay, so regarding, let's see, right about there we go. So this is the top, because this is what's going towards the ceiling. How I'm sticking it to the ceiling. You could use another method than what I'm using to stick these to the ceiling. Something that wouldn't puncture the walls. In this situation, I'm using nails. Yes, it's styrofoam. There's like double-sided tape or double-sided Velcro that you could buy at, I guess, a hardware store, home improvement store, and use that instead of what I'm gonna use, which are nails. So let me get my nails ready. And what I did, the first set, on the right corner, it's just a regular nail. It just needs to be thick enough to go, long enough to go through the 1/2-inch thick styrofoam. So I'll put that in on the front side. Put that in on the front side. Like this. This is the very top. Behind the fabric, through the styrofoam. I guess a 1/2 inch down. You can see where the nail is. It's in there. Push it through. I got hot glue on my finger, that's what that is. And it comes through on the other side, right there. Just put the fabric over it. So there's a nail there. And I'm gonna actually hammer on the outside too. I know where the nail is, so I could just hammer that. It won't puncture the fabric. Just be gentle when you're nailing it. You won't puncture the fabric. But that's how I'm gonna get it to stay on the wall. So now I'm gonna hot glue. Now I can hot glue the top, now that I have that nail in there. Let's see. The top doesn't have to be perfect as far as how it's hot glued or how much you leave at the top. If there's extra space or extra fabric is what I mean. Because in my situation, I know I'm gonna cover the ceiling, so I'm leaving, it's less than a 1/2 inch gap between the top of this and the top of the ceiling to allow for whatever I'm gonna put in there to cover the popcorn. I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna put in to cover the popcorn, but I'm allowing enough space to have that and this up there. And once I put that cover on the ceiling for the popcorn, it'll just go right over the top of this and flatten it out. It'll be nice. A little bit more glue around it. That's pretty good. Ouch, 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 it's hot, it's hot. Yeah, it's messy. You can, you're like, hey, I'm gonna show you how messy this is. And it really doesn't matter because it's gonna be facing the wall. As long as that nail is there, it's not going anywhere. So that's what it looks like. There's a nail in there. You can see the nail right there. That's what's gonna make it stick to the wall. That's it. It won't. I don't live in California, so there aren't earthquakes or anything like that I have to worry about. where this is gonna be falling off the wall, it's gonna stay in place. The styrofoam, it's not heavy. That's it. This is done. It's got the nail in it. This one's done. So let's sit it. Let's sit it over here for now. So I'm thinking, should I put? I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for this one. Because everything's done on this except for the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the nail in like I did before. On the front side, it's gonna come out of the back. And then I'm gonna glue the fabric. Get that nail in there. Just hold that. Same with this side. Again, not perfect, doesn't have to be. Once it goes on the wall, it'll look perfect. You ain't gotta worry about it. So that one's done. You can see the nail right there. That's the front of it. And get that hot glue off. Like I said, like this is once it's on the ceiling, that's how flat it's gonna be. It's gonna be right up there. So it's okay if there's just a little bit of fabric. I'll put this over here with the other one. With the good one. We are taking care of business. These little purple strips. Get my nail. Same process. Okay. We're just gonna glue it to the styrofoam we did before. Just hold that there for a little bit. And the good news is I'm pretty sure we're gonna have enough hot glue for one more gold piece and the two little small purple pieces that we have to do. Yeah, it's long enough. That's good. This was a little bit trickier. I just got that hot glue all over my thumb. Just hold that there. That's pretty much it. There's a little excess fabric on this one. I'm gonna cut that off. And you can do that too. If you find that there's like excess fabric you just don't need on, and it's in the way, cut it off. Just cut it out. Like he's just throwing stuff on the floor. Like I'll vacuum it up. There's like styrofoam on the floor, getting on my nerves. There's one more. You can see the nail right there. There's that. So now, what do we have next to do? We have another gold one to do. And we have those two small purple ones. Let's get the small purple styrofoam ones in. So this is what was left over from the one that we just did. I'm going to cut a small piece from here for the light lavender. It's a small little bit. Like I said, that color is soft, but it goes a long way. And I think I used this one. And what I did, I'm just putting it right up to the base of the styrofoam. Maybe I'll do it like that. Yeah. Right up to the base of the styrofoam. And I'm just gonna trace around it. You'll see when I cut it. But it's basically symmetrical with what we have here. It's just gonna go. That's what I'm cutting. Since I have still glue stuff. Let me show you what I just cut. Well, what I just traced with that glass. See, that's what I just traced with that. And that's what I'm gonna cut out. Actually, before I cut it out, I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna, well, draw a line down the middle, and you'll see why. You do want it to be evenly down the middle. I'm just gonna draw a line right down the middle. And you have to kind of eye it. And like I said, it's not gonna be perfect. You can make it perfect. It can be close to perfect, and it'll look perfect. That's fine. So you have to do another line. I can tell that's too much on that side. There. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay. There's some excess styrofoam right here. Let me just cut this because I'm not gonna need that. Now I can start cutting. What did he just? Well, let me show the line that I just drew in the middle really quickly. See that line in the middle? So there's one part that's cut, and I'm just gonna cut this other part. Okay, let's start with these small pieces, and then we'll do that last gold one. And then we'll be done as far as cutting and gluing stuff. This is, see, I don't even need all this. Let's get that out of here. this is what we need. We're just covering this little bit in this lavender color. This is the front, so I'm gonna turn it over. If that makes sense. I know which is the front piece. Like basically the position that I know it needs to be in, and this is the position that it needs to be in. So I'm gonna put that face down because that's what I want the shiny side covering. And it doesn't take a lot of fabric for this little small bit. Just cut, I guess cut in the shape of the styrofoam is my suggestion. This piece is tricky, I remember now. It was tricky to do, that purple piece. We can start gluing this one right now. This time I'm gonna put the glue on the styrofoam. Couple dots. Same, pulling it to make sure that the fabric is tight and not bunching. Oh, just came a little loose. There we go. All this loose threading coming in from this fabric. It all depends on what kind of fabric you use as far as if it's going to give you a hard time or not. But in the end, it's all worth it, right? It's oddly shaped, this thing. It all depends on, I mean, it just depends on what you cut your styrofoam into. Oh, I had a little piece. Styrofoam punctured. Caught it just in time. Ah, it's hot. It's hot. That's where we are so far. This is loose. I still gotta, I know, like, ooh, doesn't look the prettiest, but it's okay. You just wait. You just wait and see. Excess fabric, we don't need this. Cut all that out. I don't really need this either. Let me think. How much should I cut? I think that's good enough. Yep, that's good enough. Perfect. Well, close to perfect. Good enough for me. That's what I'll say. Let's put glue on the fabric for this little bit. Make sure that getting it a little too. Ouch, ouch. Sometimes you may have to just touch the hot glue. I mean, you may not touch the hot glue, but you may wind up touching it to get the look you're going for right then. But this will work. Some more glue in here. I'm going to close this up. Oops. Pulled some. And that's how what we'll do. And that's pretty much it. We got one purple piece down. I'll show you what it looks like. one more piece of glue. Little dot. Oh, crap. I just forgot the nail. Can I still take it? Yeah, I can still take it apart. Let me put the nail in, just like I did before with the other two pieces. I'm attaching this by putting a nail in it. Well, attaching it to the wall, I mean. But first I gotta put the nail in before I do the glue. Silly me. Leave it to me. Why did I make life hard for myself? I gotta take this apart just a little bit to put this nail in that I should have put in initially. I wasn't thinking. There we go. Get that bad boy in there. Okay, so we got the nail in there now, you can see it. Now I can glue it back, what I just had done. Fix my work. Dang it. But like I said, that's what's nice about this hot glue. You can just pull it apart if you want to undo what you just did, and most likely it won't mess up anything. So that's convenient, but this is what I wanted. This is simple. Before, after. That's what it's gonna look like. That's what it looks like, all glued up, and there's a nail in there. One down, one more to go. Excuse me. Face down. And this time we won't forget to put the nail in before we start gluing. With this small piece, the less fabric, the better. Down with that piece. Oops. Making a mess. Eventually your hands will become covered in hot glue, which is what my hands are covered in now, along with fabric and little bits of styrofoam, but that's okay. That's okay.